in a highly secretive government organization known as Prescott, which is responsible for turning orphan girls into cold-blooded killers at a young age. The students of Director Hardman are trained as relentless fighters who have no sentiments or attachments, except for their best agent, number 83, named Megan, because this gentle young woman has an interest in typical teenage life, and she wonders if she could ever become one of them. Megan not only becomes the first member of the group to receive an actual mission, but also becomes a model agent. They send the young woman to a major country, where she successfully completes a mission to secretly retrieve hidden briefcases from certain individuals. Megan not only observes the criminal underworld, but also the everyday lives of teenagers as she carries out her next missions across various cities and countries. There is an allure and thrill, yet it remains out of reach for a secret agent and stands in stark contrast to the carefree lifestyle that young people live. Curious, Megan decides to educate herself on this topic by reading teenage comics and watching teenage movies. Her tendency to experience forbidden, passionate sensations officially prohibited by Prescott stems directly from her exposure to youth-oriented comedies. Director Hardman gathers the girls to assign a new target named Knox, a prominent criminal figure who recently drew the authorities' attention. Although her appearance looks innocent, this woman is a deadly threat because she supplies weaponry to terrorists. To accomplish this mission, Hardman assigns Megan to capture Knox and deliver her to Prescott. However, Agent 84 is dissatisfied with the director's decision. Since childhood, this fiery girl with bright red hair has harbored feelings of hatred and jealousy towards Megan, and she tries to discredit her during the meeting. Director Hardman finds out that Megan reads a feminine magazine and immediately orders her to forget her emotions and use her brain if she wants to return from her mission intact. Sometime later, they discover the location where Knox is currently staying. As her colleagues capture her enemies, the ruthless and vengeful criminal intends to settle scores with them. On the other hand, the meeting leads to a surprising conclusion. A death sack covers the victim's head, and it turns out Megan is behind it. While the girl easily defeats the armed criminals, a trap snares Knox, hoisting her high above the ground. However, Megan falls into the same trap as the others, because Knox still carries her gun, threatening to shoot the agent. In an attempt to save her own life, Megan decides to release her rope, and eventually, she falls into the river. They use the same cable to transport Knox into the plane. Exhaustion immediately appears on the criminal's face as she surrenders her weapon to Director Hardman, who frantically notes that Agent 83 is nowhere to be seen. He orders them to get rid of Knox and tries to contact Megan, who has disappeared without a trace. When Megan receives Hardman's message by the riverbank, she consciously decides not to take the opportunity to report her coordinates and return to the squad. This decision comes from a sudden shift in her perspective. The young woman shows no hesitation and throws the phone handle into the river. Hardman speaks to the team, expressing his dissatisfaction over the removal of Agent 83. Participating in a student exchange program with students from other countries, Megan, filled with excitement, is ready to start an exciting new life. After making her choice online, the young woman decides to meet a friendly and welcoming family. The family warmly welcomes their guest, offering her a bright, separate room and a hand-drawn welcome poster on the wall. That night, the family has their first dinner together. The mother, named Penny, and the younger brother, named Parker, behave politely toward Megan, but the stubborn Liz is not very kind and leaves the table with a sulky attitude. The next day, Megan appears at school for the first time. The girl struggles to behave like everyone else. After watching teenage movies, Megan decides to wear overly bold clothes, which causes mockery from those around her. At this point, the girl faces the threat of becoming a bullying target. Moreover, Liz shows reluctance to start a conversation with her. To avoid being seen together with Megan, Liz immediately leaves after handing her ordinary clothes. According to school tradition, it is the duty of the school leader to introduce a new student during a general meeting. A kind man named Roger, who is responsible for designing the lighting for the local band show, meets Megan backstage. Before she reaches the stage, the kind Roger gives Megan a warning, although she expects a warm welcome. On stage, Megan finds herself in the most difficult situation for a newcomer. The fierce teenagers in the crowd direct a wave of insults at her. Cash, a famous singer who is a member of a local band, appears on stage and ends the scandal. From backstage, Megan watches her savior's performance and becomes fascinated by him. At the same time, Megan's appearance captivates Roger's heart. When the boy offers to sit with her in class, he pulls out a dissected frog organ from her chair and suggests they sit together. He sneaks a glance at Cash and arranges for them to be lab partners in the next science session. At night, she sneaks into the classroom where the instructor works. Before class begins, another female student who likes Cash engages in a fierce argument with Megan over who will sit next to Cash. The instructor resolves the dispute by assigning the young man as the lab assistant. The cunning girl and her friend devise a plan to embarrass Megan as a way to eliminate their rival. They offer Megan the opportunity to compete for the role of the team mascot while maintaining a polite demeanor. With firm determination, Megan sets off for the qualifying competition to secure the mascot position. Without considering the girl's perfect acrobatic skills, the judges decide to award her the coveted spot. Suddenly, a strange white vehicle appears and disrupts Megan's carefree teenage life that she has dreamed of. The young woman believes that Hardman has found her and is monitoring her activities. The people following Megan find her during cheerleading practice. Her classmates, dressed as Viking mascots, surround her as she performs her routine. After infiltrating the field and tackling the girl, three masked kidnappers attempt to capture her. However, the former special agent quickly dispatches the attackers and interrogates one of them by pulling off his mask. However, she finds out that the kidnapping of the team's mascot is actually just a school tradition. Shocked to see her fight being recorded on a phone, the heartbroken young woman immediately leaves the field in embarrassment. Meanwhile, Hardman interrogates Knox at a federal facility in Prescott. In exchange for the criminal's cooperation and the disclosure of her weapons supplier's identity, the director treats her well and provides very good conditions for his prison sentence. During the interrogation, Agent 84 comes with very important information for Hardman. The sly Knox winks at the fiery red-haired girl just before the director and the agent leave the room and disappear behind the door. All of Megan's classmates give her a loud round of applause when she returns to class. Liz tells the truly surprised girl that a video about her has been watched tens of thousands of times online, showing that she has gone viral overnight. She worries that Hardman can now find Megan, but the fact that Cash notices her makes her forget this information. The man delivers an invitation to the girl to attend his band's concert. Even though she feels shy and happy, Megan agrees to accept the invitation. Megan arrives at the location where the band will perform earlier than scheduled, until Roger quietly approaches Megan from behind and gives her a few professional punches. The young man actually hides his affection for Megan, but his moment of seclusion is ruined when the band led by Cash arrives. The attractive man takes Megan with him, asking Roger to finish setting up his equipment. He dedicates his new love song performance to the girl. After the performance, the couple decides to stay together and engage in some time playing an FPS game. An opportunity arises for Cash to try to kiss Megan, but the girl refuses to approach him. As a way to ease the awkward situation, the man invites his friend to attend a party at a house, and Megan's enthusiastic response ensures that she will attend. However, while the former special agent is on her way home, Hardman's men capture her. The girl regains consciousness, chained to a chair in a wet and gloomy hangar. Hardman, the director, intends to interrogate her to reveal the company Megan works for. An assistant brings a tray containing various torture tools. The assistant injects a dose of truth serum into her thigh, causing the girl to confess her emotions to Hardman, struggling with confusing mental conditions. Nevertheless, Hardman remains stubborn and accuses the girl of abandoning him. After realizing her need to return, Megan convinces the director, asking for time to hide her identity and formulate an explanation for her departure. The man grants her permission, then throws Megan, who is still under the influence of the truth serum, onto the ground in front of her house. Liz and Parker are the ones who welcome Megan. Still under the serum's influence, Megan makes an honest statement to Liz, urging her to drop her fake mask and build genuine relationships with her friends. Shortly after expressing her motivation, the young woman faints. The next day, Roger and Megan are together at lunch. A conversation happens between them about their lives and hopes. At the same time, Cash arrives, and as he sits there listening to a familiar guitar song, Megan feels a tingling sensation. Soon after realizing this, Roger ends the conversation with regret and understanding. After following her mother's directions, Liz and Megan head to a house to attend a party. While Megan searches for Cash, she meets Special Agent 84, who introduces herself as Heather. Megan is shocked to recognize her. The girl pulls her into the women's restroom, where Hardman has stationed her to oversee the execution of their agreement. After entering another restroom to look for Megan, Liz finds a student sitting alone in the room. Aside from his insistence for her to stay and share a solid drink, the guy reveals that his name is Bernard. As usual, the young woman initially refuses, and she almost leaves. However, she remembers Megan's comment made on the house's terrace and decides to stay with the guy. Roger finally arrives at the party. He shows up just to search for Megan, looking for her among the crowd, until he finds the girl flirting with Cash while playing cards. As a result, Roger feels heartbroken and eventually disappears without a trace. Liz and Megan return to their house around 6 in the morning. While Liz listens to her mother's scolding, she smiles at Megan for the first time, despite the fact that another student has drawn a doodle of a penis on her face. A bus comes to pick up Megan the next day, with Hardman apparently behind the wheel. The information he delivers to her is that Knox has avoided capture in Prescott with the help of unknown accomplices, and Megan is now in danger. However, on the other hand, the young woman has no intention of giving up her ideal life. She tells him about Roger, who has become her closest friend, Liz beginning to treat her normally, and the most popular boy at school inviting her to the dance party. After warning the girl that he will not come back to save her, Director Hardman leaves, giving her no choice but to accept this decision. During their conversation inside the car, Megan and Liz discuss the events that happened at the party. Although the blonde girl has managed to erase the penis drawing from her face, she remains angry at her friend and admits that Megan behaves ridiculously like a character in a teen movie. A black vehicle stops beside them on the road, and a gun barrel emerges from the side window. After the girls successfully dodge the shots, Megan takes over the steering wheel. In this tense situation, Megan is required to explain her identity to Liz as quickly as possible. She is not an ordinary girl at all, but someone from a secret government organization who fakes her death. Thus, her stalkers intend to kill her. The girls chase after the criminal's vehicle ends at a car junkyard, leaving them unable to escape pursuit. The only available option is to crash into the vehicle chasing them. Megan presses the gas pedal, determined to make this last effort. Her enemy does the same. Terrified by the possibility of a fatal collision, Liz takes over the steering wheel from her friend to avoid the crash. After analyzing the crashed car, Megan concludes that Heather is responsible for the accident after she smells the familiar perfume she usually wears. After that, Megan takes Liz to the hospital. The girl calls Director Hardman, where she receives news that after Knox's escape, Hardman has classified Heather as deceased and has not assigned her to continue tracking Megan. Although the former special agent asks for protective equipment, the director reminds the girl about their agreement, which states that he will not be able to save her. Megan sits in the hospital hallway when she sees Roger leaving Liz's room. She feels overwhelmed by everything she faces. The girl feels relieved to see him, as she desperately needs her friend's support at this moment, but Roger pulls away coldly and says that maybe Cash will come soon. Liz stays in her room when Megan enters. She only has a few bruises on her body, and she is fine. Megan immediately shifts the conversation to her personal life, and she reveals that she intends to leave her family to ensure their own safety. However, the tiny blonde lying in the hospital bed is not easily intimidated, and she manages to convince Megan to stay with them. Liz's release from the hospital makes the girls immediately start preparing for the dance party. They have fun wearing dresses, shoes, and Megan's deadly weapons. As the day of the dance party approaches, the girls prepare themselves well. However, Megan can only watch her friends have fun at the party from the sidelines. Responding to the fact that she sees Roger alone, the girl decides to approach him more closely, but the boy does not give her the opportunity and instead postpones the conversation. He refuses to dance with her, citing his growing relationship with Cash. However, he expresses his regret and openly admits that he has a desire to be with her in the future. Suddenly, Heather interrupts their conversation. It turns out that she and Roger attend the event together. She shares with Liz about her new strategy to win Roger back from the blonde girl. After Heather accepts the challenge, a fight breaks out between the girls, where they destroy chairs and tables and amaze everyone around them with their extraordinary fighting tactics. The girls persist in their efforts to settle their dispute. The girls find themselves in the kitchen, and Heather holds a knife as the conflict heats up. While searching for her victim, Heather walks around, revealing the agreement she has made with Knox, who is supposedly at Liz's family's location right now. Liz, who is hiding, can hear this conversation, and when Heather sneaks up behind Megan, she stabs her leg with a sharp snack stick. After disarming their enemy, the girls arrive at their house, where Knox is already waiting for Megan. Megan calmly approaches Knox, armed with a pair of pistols, but Knox asks the girl to call her Agent 1, as Director Hardman previously did. It is revealed that Knox is a member of the first generation of Prescott Organization agents. The villain's henchman brings Liz, who is preparing for the ambush, into the room and interrupts the villain's confession before they can continue. At this point, the whole family gathers together, and Knox intends to destroy them. Megan makes one more effort to save her loved ones despite the imminent danger. Responding to the successful provocation, Knox issues a challenge to the girl to engage in a fight. However, it only lasts for a few minutes, and Knox now points a gun at Megan again. At that moment, Parker, who has been looking for the girl's equipment all this time, suddenly throws a blinding flash grenade. The girl becomes confused and does not know what to do next. Prescott agents sneak into the residence at night and disarm the villains present there. As a result, Knox gets knocked unconscious, and finally, she gets captured again. When Director Hardman arrives to take Knox and help Megan, the young woman responds by giving him a warm hug. Moreover, the kind-hearted man tells Megan that she has the choice to stay with this family and act as an undercover agent. He also gives the girl the keys to an official car so she and Liz can attend the dance party together. However, the fun soon ends. Megan finds a small group of her classmates in Cash, along with her loyal admirer, in the partially destroyed hall. Meanwhile, Roger sits inside the car with his father on their way home when suddenly a helicopter descends on the road in front of them. As he exits the vehicle, he comes face to face with Megan, who then admits her mistakes to him. The movie ends with the couple exchanging a tender kiss before boarding the helicopter, where Bernard and Liz are already eagerly waiting for them. And finally, they live happily ever after. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you don't miss the latest recaps. Thanks for watching and wish you good health.